I know that you're very young. You're what, 28?
Hmm.
And so I don't even know how old you were when Bill Clinton was in office, but very young.
Yes, younger. I was in high school at that time. So yeah.
So what do you think about what he was doing while he was in office as the President of the United States? Do you feel that he should have resigned?
Well, I think that again, when it comes down to personal life versus political or professional life, again, I think the and there's all kinds of different things, like somehow or another his leadership ability or his ability to do his job as the president was somehow mangled by the fact that he had done that particular extramarital type of thing. I think that realistically, the biggest problem with what he did was not that he did it; it's that he lied. Because to me, not being honest, I think was definitely transferable into his political life. So if he's a liar there, he's gonna be lying about some other things as well. So and he in this situation was caught. So I don't necessarily think that by him having an extramarital affair, which is something that's sort of common in many regards. Not that I'm justifying it in any way, but it is somewhat common.
With our presidents, you mean?
Well, that's just it. What do we know? I mean, he's just the one who got caught. I would say there's probably been a long line of presidents who have maybe used their power for not so good, in the Oval Office, and we don't know, and there's no way of proving that. But at the same time, President or former President Bill Clinton, he was caught doing this, and I think the fact that he just up and lied, I think right there shattered his credibility. And in being the President of the United States, you have to be credible. You have to be able to hold public trust, and I think by lying to the people, he failed to do that, and I think that was the big issue.
Well, here's another question, and that is, former president of MJC Lowenstein
Yeah.
did not lie,
Hmm.
and yet he's no longer employed.
Hmm.
President Clinton did
Mhm.
lie,
Mhm.
and he was completely employed until the next election.
Well, that goes back to money. I mean, ultimately, I mean, you're there's something to be said about being in the upper echelons of the political sphere. Is
You can
money,
get away with more?
money,
Is that what you're saying?
money talks, and money oftentimes is the what makes the world go round or stops it from continuing. And I think that President Lowenstein, while he resigned, he may have been forcibly told to resign by the board. Don't know. That wasn't necessarily purview information. But as far as President Clinton, should he have resigned? Some people would say yes. Some people would say no. What does that really have to do with his ability to lead the country? I would say that it really, regardless of that, it comes down to how much influence did he have? I mean, who was going to make him resign, or who was going to impeach him? There was talk about impeachment from that. But then again, he was also being charged for impeachment from a Congress who some of the keynote speakers of that had also had extramarital affairs. So it's kind of the
Kind of like, we won't do it
calling
to
the
you.
kettle black,
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
so there's some fine points in that whole thing. But then again, that goes back to the whole political, Republicans versus Democrats, or the kind of the back and forth there as well. So, but you had people trying to impeach him and going through that whole process, when in reality they were guilty of doing the exact same thing. So pot calling the kettle black there, and ultimately it comes down to the money and the power, and who got away with what. And I think in the end they just tried to blow it over and just move on with the presidency, considering it was kind of almost up in many regards anyway. And now here we are. Not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's kind of where you're at.
Do you think the higher up the political ladder you go, the more blind eyes are turned your direction?
I don't know that blind eyes are necessarily being turned in the direction of the president. I think the president always has eyes on him. I think it's what the president or any of the upper echelon of the politicians are allowing people to see, or what they're allowing the eyes to see. When you have that kind of money and you have that kind of authority and that kind of power, especially when you're a presidential candidate and you've raised hundreds of millions of dollars for your campaign, and you still have that kind of those people working behind the scenes. What is it that you really think you're seeing of the president? I mean, do we think we see President Barack Obama right now in his family life? I doubt it. I think that we see what we're shown. It's much like a sitcom. The eyes are always on the sitcom, but these are just actors. And And when it comes down to the president, I think that much like any of the other senators and congressmen, we see what is publicized. We don't see their home life, But then again, how would we ever, see a lot of that stuff? So I think we're just shown what we need to see.
We may not be able to handle the truth.
That's I guess possible too. So again, they spend millions of dollars on publicists, just to find out, where the person stands or what would be the most appealing, So whether or not the children should be in the photo or not be in the photo, or where the photo should be, or what the background of the photo should be. So millions of dollars are spent on this kind of thing. I mean, during the last presidential election, Hillary Clinton, for instance, spent $25,000 trying to find out. I think it's 25,000, or it may have been 250. We'll save $25,000 just to so hopefully stay
we'll
within the
err
realm.
on the side of
Could have been more, but just to find out that a donate button on a website, if it was colored red, would attract more donations, more people clicking on the donate button, and it's amazing. So just the psychological stuff that that people pay money to look into, to find out all these little nuances of how to make me as the average person out there filling out my voter in the voter box to vote one way or another, or what I should see, or what all that. So it's odd.